A line from the fantastic movie The Right Stuff pretty much says it all. No bucks, no Buck Rogers. The message is simple. No matter how high-tech something might be, cold hard cash might be the most necessary element. NASA needs bucks, billions. A recent blue ribbon panel took a look at how the U.S. space program is functioning and its needs. And the chairman of that panel is with us now. Norman Augustine is the chairman of the Human Spaceflight Committee. He is also former chairman and CEO of Lockheed Martin, so he knows his space. Mr. Augustine, welcome to Fox Business.
Thank you. Good morning, Brian.
What were your panel's findings? How much money does NASA need?
Well, the principal finding was that the space program, as we're pursuing it today, and particularly the human spaceflight program, has a mismatch between its goals and the amount of money we're allocating to it. And as a result, it's likely to not be terribly successful. That's the principal finding. We essentially face a choice today that we either need to add funding, in our view about $3 billion a year, or else we have to tailor our goals back. And frankly, the program is sufficiently thin today that if you tailor it back very much, you really don't have a human spaceflight program. We would, of course, continue to have a strong robotic program. What
are the goals, and what should they be?
Well, in our committee's view, we focused on the human spaceflight program. The ultimate goal in the years ahead is to place humans on Mars, to explore Mars, to better understand Mars. It, of course, is a planet that has a history closest to our own and would be very helpful in understanding our own planet, its future, and so on. But there are other goals that fall out of that, such as providing inspiration, asserting America's leadership, generating new technology, new markets, and so forth.
Well, that's it. You know, we saw in the 60s the space program helped bring America together as much as it could during those turbulent times. But we've also got so many problems here in the United States, and it's going to be hard to sell the taxpayers on why we need to spend $3 billion more into NASA for distant journeys into outer space. How do you sell that to the taxpayer? What benefit are we going to get, aside from national pride, for our money?
Well, you do get benefits, of course, that impact the marketplace. We're talking here about NASA building a commercial space launch industry, much as the government helped build the airlines many years ago when the airlines were a nation, a very difficult time getting started. The government put them in charge of hauling the mail. And today NASA has the opportunity to do something very much like that, hauling cargo into low Earth orbit to supply all kinds of capabilities that we have up there now. But really, I think the answer to your question is that you can't justify the program based on any one thing. And if you say, should you spend the money on cancer research or should you spend it on exploring Mars, I think that's not the complete question. I think this is a country where we spent $7 billion last year betting on the Super Bowl. We spent $32 billion on movies and videos. We spent 60-some billion on illegal drugs. I think it's a priority issue.
I want to ask you about your former life at Lockheed Martin. I want to talk about defense spending. Where do you see defense budgets going? A lot of talk right now, especially in the investing sector, about some of the programs that are on the books at your old company, Northrop Grumman, General Dynamics, you name it. Where do you see defense spending and the defense sector going?
Well, I really can't speak to my old company. I've been retired 12 years, but in terms of the overall sector, I think we're looking at a flat to declining real dollar defense budget for a period of time. And much of the money that goes into that is going to have to be to either to operations or to replace systems that are just flat wearing out.
Yeah, where do you see our biggest need right now? Where should the money be centered in terms of defense spending?
Well, I think it clearly needs to be centered on the kinds of conflict we see to be caught in, not the very large wars, which hopefully we won't be facing for a while. But into things, how do we combat terrorism? How do we combat insurgencies? How do we build countries and so on?
Norman Augustine, it was a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. We do appreciate it.
Thank you. Good to be with you.
Where's Chuck Yeager when you need him, right?